What is going on? When is my first talk? I think I gave my first talk many years ago. All right. So we compile Sokoban now, but maybe we don't run correctly now. So we get to figure out now why it's that. Well, offset pointer, null pointer. Make localization text. Our localization text is null, except it's not null. Loc mo data is, oh, god damn it, dude. Did they do something about this? We can't see module level. Oh wait, no, that's a member because we're using. Oh, we're using, that's a clue. That's a clue. So our localization text, well, it is null. It doesn't matter that we're using in this case. Text, it's empty. We didn't load it correctly. Okay. It's this using, okay, so we're doing the wrong thing for usings. See, we're using text. We're saying mo data equals data, which should assign text.mo data, right? And that didn't happen. So we broke something. We're going to want to look at when we emit code for this statement. There's definitely, though, this is good improvement. We're getting there. Have I tried Windows Update Blocker? No. Maybe I should. All right. So this is in line 24. If we break in emit code for assignment, I think it's the name of the routine. We might have a lot of assignments in line 24 of various files, but maybe we just bite the bullet and step through them. For binary operator, for operator expression. Oh, I'm searching the wrong thing. No wonder I'm not finding it. Okay, struct dereference, array subscript, logical, or assignment. See, I told you. Told you. Okay, so left expr L0 is 24. Let's just see how many step throughs we have to do. Make sure we're compiling the right thing. Yeah. we have other breakpoints? Let's get rid of that one. All right. Okay. Wrong file. Wrong file. This is the right file. Not too bad. Okay, so, well, it is an identifier. The entry does have an import link, though, right? It doesn't. I forget how this is supposed to work, but so we're supposed to be saying how we get to this identifier, right? So when we import, in this case, it's not a simple import. Like, if you're just importing a constant symbol from another place in the program, which is often what you're doing, that's very simple. The compiler doesn't need to know anything else. It just needs to know where's the thing that you're importing. It looks at the value. It's like, oh, it's a constant. Constants are constants regardless of where they're defined. So nothing special has to happen, right? Here, we're like using through a variable. So when we assign this, we have to know that this is like a member of this struct. And that's what is not happening for some reason. So like here, this emit code for L value needs to follow the import link. Okay, there's no substitution. Okay. Dude, we're going through so many levels of like random crap. We need to clean this out at some point. Like, why didn't we jump straight here? I don't know. Okay. Oh, wait, we're not even there. Scope entry eval. It's got an import link. The imported by is a using. Okay. We're using an identifier, so it's not a declaration. This looks wrong to me. Down here, we're going to go down here, and we're going to say emit code for scope entry eval of whatever we're linked to. Doesn't make sense. Because if we skip this import link, we lose the information. I need to look at, so we've changed this very heavily, but I want to go back and diff this and look at what it used to say. Let's diff. So line 2890, I mean, oh, come on. The file name may have changed, or the location may have changed. Okay. Scope entry eval. Or declaration imported by, okay, let's look here first. So we used to say, if we're imported by some declaration, okay, this used to say the same thing. The thing is, using used to always be a declaration. And when I changed it, I did this, and that's not right. It's not that the using is a using of a declaration, it's that it's any using. So I think we just get rid of this. Let's go up and look at, where are we by code builder? So I think we just want to route to here. God, there's so many like routing back and forths because, yeah. Yeah, okay, we want to go there. So this is just wrong. I did the translation wrong. So so much routing. It's bananas. Bananas. It's bananas. Okay. Now the compiler dies. That may represent solid progress, though. Will I do a blind live rant? I haven't seen the terminal presentation. I saw like the 1-minute trailer. That was bad enough. I mean, I did a whole rant about the terminal yesterday or something. I don't think I need to rant about it more. Am I going to try more now? It doesn't look that interesting to me. Like, it looks like Call of Duty or Battlefield control point capture, but with medieval weapons. And I guess like the melee system is more intricate, and that's fine, but I don't know, man. It just doesn't look like there's that much of a point to the game, I guess. Control point capture games never were very interesting to me. Watching the presentation will be worth it. Okay, well, that's what you assumed it'd be, but it's a lot more involved than you expected. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, the terminal rant, I think, was yesterday morning. It's a short stream yesterday morning. It was an hour-long stream, and probably 20 minutes of that was the terminal rant. I don't know. So you could just look at yesterday's VOD. Yesterday you brought home a laptop from 2003 with XP on it. Didn't expect WinXP to feel so much snappier than Windows 10 on a modern machine. Yep. 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 Okay. Okay, we don't want this breakpoint. We just want to see where we're crashing now. Well, struct type, struct desk. Struct type is not a struct type. Okay. It's not that big of a surprise. When we rejiggered all of this, like we might even be in the same place. $157. No, we're not. Let's look at player control. Mouse delta, wait, what? This is just like a global. Oh. It is just like a global, right? So, but our importer is probably set now to an import directive, which is a new thing that didn't used to happen. Imported by this is going to be a module struct. Yes. I think I would like that better if that was an import directive than a module struct. Because what we're about to do here is say, like, look, if you were just imported by a module struct or by an import directive, that's not through a variable. We don't need to do anything. Or, I mean, we could do that here even. So if it's a declaration, this really should say this really should be here, right? And we might as well, because we've got this tangled nest of things, we really should do it here probably. Wait. Here. I joined Mensa for like 1 year when when I was feeling like I needed to be more social or something, and I went to like one or two of the events, and I was like, oh, these are not the people that I want to hang out with and be social with. So then I stopped my membership. The whole thing is over-engineered for the sake of backwards compatibility, e.g. sending a key input to the conhost process. Yeah, that sounds like a disaster already, right? I mean, all I can say is they seem to have conflicting statements about what the goal is, because in their blog posting, they said that the whole point of this console was that the backward compatibility of the old one was keeping them, was shackling the console, and they needed a fresh start, right? If they need a fresh start, why are they being backwards compatible? Like, it doesn't make sense. I don't even have serious, anything serious to say about the Mensa thing. It just, sometimes you walk into a room and you're like, oh, these aren't really the people that I want to be around. And it was like that. And I'm sad to say. I will say though, there's an even more elitist society than Mensa called Six Sigma, which I haven't ever applied to or joined. But I went to one of their dinners with a friend of mine a long time ago, and that actually seemed like reasonable people having a reasonable social event. So Six Sigma is probably where it's at, rather than Mensa. That's all I'm saying. Is it Six Sigma, Five Sigma? Let me look this up before. There's probably both, right? The more Sigmas, the more elite you feel. Wait, Six Sigma is no, hold on. Is it Five Sigma? Six Sigma is some, it's probably Four Sigma. I don't know. Somebody can tell me. Am I talking about mega society? No, it's something else than that. There's a lot of different groups of people who want to feel like they're smart, right? So yeah, that business Six Sigma thing is not the one I'm talking about. 999, I don't think, maybe I'm just not remembering which one it was. Anyway, I went to some dinner from one of these groups, and it seemed fine. But I wasn't ever joining the group. Okay. Dude, there's a lot of stuff. There's still secret societies in the world. There's people in secret societies. So, like, that's all still a thing. 999, it might have been. I honestly don't remember at this point. I definitely know people in secret societies. There was one guy in college that everyone knew was a Freemason. And he wasn't maybe the best exemplar of, like, You know, if there's somebody who everybody knows is in a secret society, you want that person to be the on-the-ball person that everybody looks up to and respects, and that's not who that was. I know other people that are in secret societies too, in adult life, so it's a thing. It's a thing. I am not in any secret societies that I know of. If I'm in one, it's so secret that I'm not knowing that I'm in it. That would be pretty cool, right? You start a society that's so secret, you induct people against their knowledge. Twitch is a secret society, maybe. Lots of those secret societies are really just fraternal clubs for mutual support, community building, and common fund management. Yeah, probably. I mean, I wouldn't know. I've never been in one, but that is the impression that I've gotten. The impression that I've gotten is that the secret part has two functions. One is it's just a way of filtering who you invite, right? It's like part of the secret is just like, look, this is invitation only. And of course we still accidentally invite people who are bozos because that's impossible to fix. But you know, we do our best, right? So that's part of it. And then part of it is that there is a bonding element to people knowing a common secret or a common set of procedures, let's call them, right? Or common body of knowledge that most other people don't share. There's like a way that people get to know each other better through that, and that helps a group cohere, right? And that's mainly the function of the secrecy in those things. So, as far as I understand it, like I said, there might be some parts that I don't understand because I've never been in one. Elite singles only dating website. Professor at your college has an IQ of 182. You can't even imagine what it must feel like. Yeah. You don't understand these IQ-based social clubs. It just feels like a way to stroke the ego of every member who manages to enter. IQ does by no means mean the person will be more interesting. That is true. In fact, one of the weird things about the couple of Mensa meetings I looked at was like, I mean, maybe I'm a judgmental person, but I looked around and I was like, these people aren't doing that well in life, and that's why they're in Mensa. So like, these aren't the people I want to hang out with. And if you're not doing that well in life, like despite being smart, it means that your negatives are overriding your positives. So you like have maybe more negatives than the average person. It wasn't good. And again, maybe that's just me. That was my gut reaction on like walking into the room, right? So maybe I'm just a jerk. But the thing is, if for people who spend a lot of time thinking about stuff, you know, being smart and thinking about certain things in the world, you kind of do want to have people to talk about who will understand the kinds of things you're thinking about, right? So some of my good friends in the world are just other people who have done a lot of serious programming, right? And like, I can talk to them about programming and they'll get what I'm saying. There's very few people in the world at this point that I know. I mean, I'm sure there's many if you count all the people I don't know, but there's few people who I actually know that I could talk to about programming. And because programming is such a large percentage of what I spend my life doing, then there's just a way that I can't connect with most people in a certain way because they don't know what I spend most of my time thinking about. They have no idea, right? And so that's, I think, the function. Before the internet existed, I think like an IQ society like that sort of served that function. It helped you maybe find people who were interested in the same kinds of things as you. Now I don't think you need like an IQ society to do that because it's the wrong metric, right? The metric isn't how high is your IQ, it's, for example, how much have you done programming, and how experienced are you at it, and what interesting things have you done, and what do you have to contribute to a discussion about that, right? Or if it's not programming, how much have you done game design, and what have you worked on, and how much do you have to contribute, right? Like, that's what I want to talk to people about. Like, I don't care what their IQ is on an IQ measurement test, right? And so now that the internet exists, it's easier to find those more selective groups of people. So I think the whole reason for things like Mensa is kind of gone now. The legit reason, I mean, I'm sure there's like ego stroking reasons why people do that. But it's just to say that I could have said once upon a time that there were non-ego stroking reasons to be in those things, but it doesn't feel that much like that anymore. What I'm saying sounds more like meritocracy than high IQ dick waving. Yeah, I mean, high IQ dick waving doesn't help anybody, right? It's not, I don't care. I don't care how good you feel about a number that you got after taking a test. Nobody cares but you, right? So, yeah. Could I raise the volume of the microphone? Did it go down again? Like, Windows keeps, no, it's at max right now. I think Windows applied another reboot and like just turned everything down. According to OBS, everything's at 100%. The volume on my mic is at volume percent. Okay, everyone else says it's fine. You should care about the IQ of people you hire, maybe. Not really. I mean, look, I mean, this is my job. Part of my job is to hire people. We don't hire that often, but when we hire, right? And like, I certainly have never asked anybody, how smart are you, right? That's just not, I mean, you want people who are smart, but like asking what score they got on a test is not really that relevant to, do you know how to program well? You know, are you interested in programming? Are you going to pursue a problem in a self-guided way until you find a good solution, right? Are you going to be not satisfied with bad solutions? Are you going to be constantly working to improve, right? Those are, like, if I want to hire a programmer, those are the things that I look for, right? There's many things I don't look for. I don't look for, do you have a college degree? What school is it from? What grades did you get? I don't care about any of that stuff. Not least because I don't have a college degree. Got pretty bad grades sometimes. I don't look for, do you have an IQ test or were you a member of Mensa? No, it's just all about, can you program? Which is a different thing. You gave up on taking some IQ tests because it felt like a waste of time after a few minutes. Well, internet IQ tests are especially a waste of time, but the real ones like happen in a room. So when I took the Mensa test, I still got into Mensa, but you know, these IQ tests have different sections. And one of the sections was the listening comprehension section, right? Where the guy administering the test like reads a story. And by the time we got to that, and then you're supposed to answer questions about it. And by the time we got to that part of the test, I was like a little bit tired from thinking about these other test problems. And then the guy who was reading the story was so boring, I just dozed off and just didn't listen to him at all. After like the first 3 sentences. And then 2/3 of the way through it, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm in a test. I really should be listening to this guy, right? But I just like I was not interested in listening to him, right? And then that portion, I started answering those questions and I was like guessing on half of them, right? Now, I mean, I still got in, but like, I'm sure my score on that part of the test wasn't that good. But was it because I don't have good listening comprehension, or is it because this guy was super boring and, there probably were other judgmental reasons why I didn't want to listen to him? Like, tests are like that. Were the questions about the story, about memorizing stuff, or about concluding stuff? They weren't even about concluding things. As far as I remember, and again, I don't remember that well, but the questions were like, they were essentially paraphrases in different wording of what the guy said, right? So if he used particular words to explain something, then the questions were in different words about what that was. How do you know when to stop improving and just be satisfied with your work? Well, those things are not completely, I would say you can't ever stop improving. That doesn't make sense. You don't ever stop improving, but you shouldn't be unhappy with where you're at. Satisfied doesn't mean, satisfied seems to imply, okay, I don't ever need to do better. And so that's not right. But you shouldn't be unhappy. You should be happy that you worked hard and that you're good at what you do and that you're still getting better, right? So satisfied versus unsatisfied, I don't feel like is the right way to look at it. Did I get tested because I was concerned about my mental health? No. I just wanted to apply to Mensa. Why would you take an IQ test if you're concerned about your mental health? That doesn't make sense. I also took the Scientology IQ test one day, by the way, back when I didn't know what Scientology was. They I went to Berkeley and they had like a thing, and like they had like a little office near the BART station in Berkeley, and the way they would try to pull students in the door is say like, hey, free IQ test. So I was like, oh, I'll take a free IQ test. So I took their IQ test. Fortunately, I did not then join Scientology after that. Why was I interested in Mensa? Because I wanted to be more social with smart people. And then I discovered that I didn't actually want to be more social with smart people. Seems like I missed out. Scientology is great. I don't know. ECS doesn't have anything to do with data-oriented design. Those are different things. I've ranted about ECS so many times, I'm not going to do it again. Do I mean the Dianetics test, or was it a different IQ test? I don't know what the Dianetics test is. It seemed like a straightforward IQ test. Like, it didn't ask weird, spooky questions. It was just like, analogy questions and whatever. Why wouldn't I want to be more social with smart people? I already explained that like 10 minutes ago. You can rewind in the thing. Is doing IQ tests still a big thing for people just out of school getting their first programming job? I think IQ tests for employment are actually illegal in some places, including maybe California. I'm not sure. IQ test legality for employment. IQ testing is illegal, I guess, in the entire United States for job interviews as of 1971, according to a random web link that I clicked on. I don't know how accurate that is. So, yeah. Yeah, I think we solved yesterday's bug. Now we're on to a new issue. Scary part is when they refuse to employ you because your IQ is too high. I don't know if that happens. Look, if you're just going to come in here and insult me, then go away. Thanks. Will we have a heap allocator implementation stream? I think so, but not for a few weeks because I'm going to be traveling. So what I'm doing right now is trying to tie this stuff up. And I think we're getting pretty close. And check it in. And then I'll work on my speeches and stuff. And then I'll be working on the compiler probably a little bit while I travel, but I don't want to do a serious like new sub-project like a memory allocation implementation until I get back. Probably. You're playing Battlefield 4 and the text editor in game is amazing and it runs at more than 144 hertz. I know. And so why is, yeah, I know. Am I traveling for the collapse talk is in Russia. So I have to travel to go to Russia because I don't live in Russia. How do I hire people? Do you want them to show some hobby projects or do you ask them only? It depends. Like some people might have hobby projects and that's a good sign and I'll take a look at those, but some people don't. Like some people are just like, look, I worked at this AAA company and on this involved game engine. And so if you're interviewing someone, you don't want to have too many preconceptions about who they should be, right? You want to look at who they are and determine by talking to them if you think they're going to do a good job in the job. That's all, right? You want to be as accommodating as you can be, because if you filter people out because they don't match your very narrow preconceived view of who you want to hire, then you're getting rid of good candidates and you may not be able to hire somebody. Or your average, if you get rid of a significant portion of the candidates for no good reason, then by definition, your average quality of your hire is going to go down. Probably, unless you're correctly filtering out people who are worse than average, which you're not probably, then because your candidate pool is smaller, you're going to get lower quality people. You always want to select from the biggest pool that you can to get the highest quality people, right? So that means a lot of things, right? It means don't be racist, right? It means don't be sexist. It also means don't have any other kind of presumptions about who you're hiring, right? You just want to look at who you're talking to, what experience they have, what kind of attitude they have about solving problems. Did I see Casey's mock interview? Yeah, so that one, if somebody wants to link that in the chat, that was a pretty good example of how to interview somebody for a job. It's not really how big companies like Google and whatever do it, because in order to do that, the interviewer has to really know what they're talking about. And industrial interview processes are designed so that the interviewer could be incompetent too. But the mock interview that Casey and Sean did was good, I thought. If someone's disagreeing with me during the interview, would that disqualify the person? No. No. Well, it depends on the nature of the disagreement, right? Like if they're disagreeing very strongly about something that is a core foundation of the way we work. Like if somebody comes in and says, source control is stupid. You should never use source control. I would at least, I mean, that's an interesting idea. I would ask them to explain that, but it's probably wrong. And we use source control, right? So, you know, that's kind of a red flag in terms of that person being able to work with the group. But I would hear them out. I probably just would not be convinced, right? If they could convince me or at least make me believe that they have an interesting case, then that's a plus. Do I determine their skill in game design during the interview? I haven't ever really hired people for game design. I know somebody who I would hire for game design, but I never have hired anybody for game design. And so I can't say much about that. I've only hired few people for programming. Yeah, that link, mock interview with Sean McGrath. If you want to know what's like a good way to interview people for hiring, look at that. Do we write job requirements in any particular way? No, we just sort of make them up every time that we need to hire someone. Would I hire people that seem promising but maybe lack experience? Well, for a company as small as ours, we don't do that. We might do that rarely, but we just don't hire very often. So we can't hire that many inexperienced people. I would like to be able to hire more inexperienced people and train them up. But we just don't have the facilities to do that right now. Larger companies, I think the bigger a company is, the more it needs to have that kind of pathway of training people up. But we don't do that as often as I would like. Have I ever been fooled by someone I interviewed? No. I mean, we've definitely interviewed people who didn't work out. But it was mostly in areas that I don't have a lot of knowledge to judge anyway. So like in 3D modeling and animation, you know, we had people that for one reason or another didn't. And actually in one of those cases, I knew it was a very risky hire and we were just hoping that it would work anyway, and it didn't. Do I remember any occasion in an interview where the person you were interviewing changed my mind about something? I don't remember one. But again, I mean, I haven't hired that many people. We're a small company, so, you know, it's not a big sample size. And usually in an interview, you're finding out what the other person knows. You're not asking for their strong opinions about things you disagree with. Okay, let's get back to programming. I'm going to warm up some tea because it's cold in here for some reason, and we're going to solve this. And the thing that I want to do, so what's going on now is we're routing to part of the code that's assuming we're dereferencing a struct. We are not dereferencing a struct. We are dereferencing something that was imported by an import directive, which is easy. So we just have to tell the compiler that that's easy. But before we do that, I want to check when we set this imported by. I don't know why struct type is wrong. I want to look at that too. I want to look at a few things about this and then figure out what to do. Because also, like I've been saying, there's a little bit of spaghetti here with different functions calling each other that I would like to like simplify and all that. So let's do that. Okay. Let's I have like glare on my monitor, but I don't think there's a lot I can do. Let's close this. Okay, that's better. Better. So, multiple things that I want to do. First, I want to see where this imported by gets set, just because I'd rather have it point at the import directive, and because I think that'll be less confusing. So let's, oh good. Okay, so we're going to break here and say conditions result arrow s is equal to that. We're going to see where this gets called from. We're going to see if it's a simple matter to change the importer to be the directive. It may not be. It may not be. Actually, it may be. We'll see. We'll see. Is that the new console? No. No. Dude, I should just write a console out of all the stupid programs that need to get written. It's so, the problem is you can't even, like there's so many fundamental problems. Like process launching in Windows and Linux, by the way, doesn't do a good job about clearly differentiating between single arguments that have spaces in them, right? Or like, you know, there's always a place where arguments get concatenated into a string, and then you have to do weird quoting and bull crap. Like, look, it should just be an array of strings for each argument, and then there could be spaces in there, and that would be fine, right? And like, even at that level, things are messed up. So just trying to build on that, it just gets more and more messed up. I mean, you have all this stupid stuff with Windows commands about using /. Wait, really? About using / for options, but / can also be used as a directory separator now, right? And you'll have stuff where like different programs are parsing the options themselves. So you can run some command in a prompt and it'll run, but then you run that command piped through more and you'll get a parse error because there was a space in it. It's just garbage, dude. It's just garbage from top to bottom. And that's the real problem. Like, you need to throw away all the command line programs. You need to throw away the way that command line handling is done in Windows and just rebuild all of that. Like, starting at the console is the wrong place. I mean, it's an incremental improvement, but it's not going to solve anything basic. On Linux, it is an array. What am I talking about? I think it's that when a process launches in libc, it actually gets. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm not correct about Linux, but I thought that when a process launches, it just gets one string, and then like pre-main in libc like parses that into arguments or something. Maybe that's not actually the case. Maybe it's only Windows that has that problem. Do I really think you need to throw away all the Unix core utils? Absolutely. I think the Unix philosophy is a bad philosophy, and I wish people would stop taking for granted that it's a good idea. It's a bad philosophy. It's argc and argv. Okay, so it's just Windows that has that problem then. You're working on a C++ game project. You think what you're producing is not that great. Should you still try to improve it and see it through to some reasonable end? Well, you should do something. You should always try to improve what you're doing. The question about whether you should do that by keep working on that project or start something new, I think is only something that you could decide. I can't tell you. I don't know anything about the situation. All right. So the problem with the Unix philosophy, there's a part of the Unix philosophy that's good, which is like, hey, having rearrangeable pieces that we can plug together to make certain jobs happen is obviously an interesting idea. That's what programming is based on. It's what like library use is based on, right? Like, hey, a library, an API gives you different ways to plug things together. The Unix philosophy is you do that through command lines with pipes. And the reason that's so crappy is that it's like writing everything in JavaScript, right? You don't have type information. You can't pass complex data structures between things. You're always going to have things break down because of the lack of structured data. So the right philosophy is like what we do in programming all the time. Is like, look, okay, kind of like the Unix philosophy, you want things that interoperate, but they shouldn't be command line programs that output text. Just have them return some data structure that you know how to read. They'll run zillions of times faster. You'll have way fewer bugs. Programs will be a lot simpler. And you won't have this legacy of 10 trillion executables on your system. Like, it's just, yeah. It's not just the idea that text is a universal interface. That's part of it. But it's also that you have a lot of executables. Like, why do you have all these executables when what they really should be is like libraries? Like, you have an executable and it has a zillion command line options to all do different things. And that executable is not really something you ever want to call that much on your own. It's really like more meant to be called by shell scripts now. Like, that's just a function in a library and with arguments to the function. So do that. Make it a function in a library with arguments to the function. Don't do this like command line option bullcrap. Have I ever looked at PowerShell that passes objects between processes? No, but like if it's COM based, which it probably is, I really don't have it. I'm not talking about COM. I'm just talking about like, imagine that you had like C struct declarations that say what the format of your data is. And people have an ability to know what that format is, and then you just give them the data. Not even through a pipe, through like shared memory or something, right? Because that's probably a lot faster than pipes and doesn't require you to serialize anything. I think that's the right way to do it. Okay. So, I set a breakpoint for when this thing gets assigned, and it didn't trip. Which, it did set. So, and we set that when, when imported by is assigned, and that looked like it was the only place, which is weird. Is our S the same? 8509443923. Oh. Wait, is this a different scope entry? Or is it the same one and we have a problem? Let's go back up. Why did the number come out different? Either I got this wrong last time or it's coming out different. If it's the latter, then I'm sad. That's a very different though. Let's make sure we're running with no jobs. We are. Okay, well, let's see. Let's try again. PowerShell is C# and it's basically exactly what you're talking about. Okay, well, maybe that's good then. Now, Windows is crazy. The whole UWP thing was the biggest mistake Microsoft ever made, because they've permanently increased the complexity of Windows in a way that they have to support forever because everything has to be backward compatible. And that's just going to kill them eventually, right? Like complexity, as you keep working on software, complexity just grows, but you need to keep that growth constrained as much as you can. And they didn't do that. They just doubled it instantly. More than doubled it, because the new stuff that they added was like crazy complicated. And now they have to support all of it forever. It's just bananas. I'm sure every programmer there hates their job now because it's all bullshit. Okay, so now we worked. So I don't know why I got the wrong number before. I might have typed something wrong. Okay, so the importer is going to be a struct, right? Yeah. No, it's a using. Oh, it's the using's expression is going to be a struct. I could have gone straight there. Expression is a struct. So oh. Okay, you know what? I said before that I would rather have the import directive. I'm not sure that's true. All right. Let's go back to the crash. So like, I don't know why struct type is wrong. That's the other thing I want to know. Where does that get set? Why am I not seeing it? My brain isn't working. Struct type. That's weird. Oh. Oh, it's interp type def type. Yes. Okay. We're just going to do this. Let's fix all our typos. Fucking dude, I put that where it was for a reason. I hate this editor. Why did I type in it? Okay. So in this case, we're going to do the same thing. hold on. We don't, okay, I screwed this up. Let's go to a real editor. A real editor that deletes half my file. Okay. Okay. If it's a using and so we only want to do this if we're not in this situation. Oh. Has anyone else been noticing that Visual Studio 2019 sometimes wrongly underlines something is incorrect? Yes. Even when it does underline things correctly, there's a lot of latency and it's slow and annoying to try to figure out what's going on. So I don't pay any attention to that stuff. Hey, okay, failed to write output file because permission denied, because we have it open in the debugger. Well, we are successfully building the program once again. Who knows if it runs? That's been a long-term feature. It's true. It's been a long-term feature that behaves slightly differently in every version. We've got a window open. Oh my God, people, have we finally done it? Oh my God. It's been like, I don't even know when we started working on this change, but it was like maybe more than a month ago. Let me, just so I believe my eyes, let's look at the timestamp. Okay, it's possible. It is possible to make large structural changes to your code. It can happen. That's all I'm saying. It can happen. Your code doesn't have to get worse and worse forever. It is possible to pull it back from the brink. All right. Let's see if we can build with release compiler. Oh, well, okay. Here's an interesting thing. To quote unquote solve my, we're not done yet, obviously. To quote unquote solve my problem from this morning, I took out dependencies in certain cases. And it seems to me that that might be why this is happening. So we're going to have to, we might have to do something very special there. Anyway, though, so that's compiled with the release compiler. Let's see if that works. It should be the same, just compiled much faster. So we have to get it working with no jobs set to false. But this is great, dude. We're almost home on this. If you joined chat and the code decided to run. Well, thank you for joining chat. That's great. Scene reminds you of the sausage roll game. Probably because there's a lot of water and few land, but I don't want it to be tiny bridges mostly like this, because that makes it feel less like exploring. There could be an area that's tiny bridges like that, but you know. Okay, so eventually we'll run a Benny test and all that, but well, let's try a release build. Let's try a release build. You know what? Let's try a Benny test with no jobs. Because if that works, we're indeed very, very close. Are those screen space reflections? Yes. All right. So, release build. That level we knew would fail. We'll let that run for a while. Spoiler alert, Benny Hill gets chased at the end of the episode. Do we have a specific idea with how the overworld is constructed? We're starting to work on that now. Prior to now, we mostly designed other parts of the game, and we're just now starting to think seriously about the overworld. So we'll figure it out. Dude, just imagine if somebody tried to do the Benny Hill show in the modern environment. There would be outrage everywhere. It would be crazy. The Triggered Hill show. How many years is it before the Benny Hill show gets banned? Like, before old VHS recordings of the Benny Hill show. Not that even that it's a show that I particularly like. Like, when I go back and watch it on YouTube, a lot of it is kind of dumb or kind of slow or whatever, but like, that was on primetime television when I was a kid. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. My dad used to watch that show all the time. What's the Benny Hill show? Well, it's a show. You've been rewatching MASH, and that stuff will also be done after the first episode. Yeah, I don't remember MASH super well, but I do remember it was one of those TV shows that was actually generally trying to be about something instead of just being a comedy. So I could see how the topics that they touch on would not survive. Taking bets this test run. You bet 390 levels, okay. If you want to bet, that's okay. I mean, we really don't know what's going to happen. Is 1.080 seconds compile time now considered normal? Not really. It's considered normal for the fact that I haven't gone back and sped up some slowness hits that we took. Like, again, don't freak out every time the compile number goes up or down, because I need to be able to work on the compiler and do things, right? And if people freak out because compile time went up by 0.2 seconds, then I can't ever fucking get work done. So just, you know, it's fine. It goes up, it goes down. These things happen. It started out as a comedy, but it switched into solid political commentary by the second season. Yeah. It also got really bad by the end. Yeah, probably. I mean, that happens to a lot of TV shows, right? Like they sort of don't want to keep treading the same ground, and so they try to like do new things, and the new things are bad compared to the old things. Dude, Game of Thrones I had to stop watching when the TV writers took over. It was so bad. So bad. Did I watch or like South Park? I never really watched the show of South Park much, but I liked the movie. The South Park movie was really good. It contradicts itself from scene to scene now. What's the next song to add to Benny Test? I don't know. We just might go straight to BFG Division. Like, I feel like some BFG Division might help. It might help the test run faster, you know what I'm saying?
Telling the truth can be bad news. Telling the truth can be bad news. Telling the truth can be.
Would it make sense to make the test for the game run without graphics sound? No, because one of the things we're doing is testing the graphics and sound. If you don't test the graphics and sound, then you don't know if they work.
Telling the truth is a scary. Telling the truth is a scary predicament. Telling the truth is a bitter herb. Telling the truth is a dangerous tunnel. When you get out of that tunnel, you've got bitter herb. Black life ahead. Forget herb. I never heard of a hit that had the word herb in it. Telling the truth is
also, it motivates us to make the game faster.
Telling the truth can be dangerous.
You know, if we can make the game faster to make the test run faster, then let's do that.
Telling the truth can be dangerous. Telling the truth can be dangerous business. Telling the truth can be dangerous business. Why? 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 Telling the truth can be dangerous business. Because if yourself, you don't know why. Huh? Well, I'm just giving you what the idea is. Telling the truth can be dangerous business. If you don't know yourself, then you don't know why. Oh, is that brilliant? Telling the truth can be dangerous business. Honest and popular don't go hand in hand. If you admit that you can play the accordion, no one will hire you in a rock and roll band. But we can't sing our hearts out. And if we're lucky, we'll know never.
Can I make multiple tests at the same time? Well, why would that be any different than running them in serial? It would be just as slow, probably. And it would be more work because we wouldn't test the thing that we're actually testing. Ever given any thought about doing some kind of programming game? Some, not super seriously. Like, Zach already does a good job of that. So it's like people don't need me to go do that unless I have an idea that's very different from what he would do. Yeah, the tests are playing from recorded movements. How many levels did I design? I don't know how many I personally designed. It's interesting. We have a utility that checks to see that authors signed their levels so that we know who to credit. So I could make that actually count how many levels were by each person and print it out at the end. That would be interesting. You want to make a game like Mist and Witness. Well, I hope it goes well. Hey, we finished. Hey, 381 succeeded. This is, wait, I thought we re-recorded a test for, oh no, a different one failed. Wait, mirror epicycle. This one we expected to fail, I think. This one we expected to fail, this one we expected to fail. This one, I did not expect to fail. What happened? There's like no... It's just the timing is messed up now? That's very weird. Let's just make sure if the level works. So some of the timing is a little bit fragile. So let me just verify that the level works. And as long as the level works and is solvable, then I'm okay with it. It's possible that we broke something because we did edit the mirror code, but that was mostly about wrapping levels. I don't know. Ta-da, okay. So it's just the timing is a little off, which is fine. That's actually what I like about the early Game of Thrones stuff, is that it didn't comply with what's considered traditional story structure. Like, that was what made it interesting to me. Similarly, like, you know, that the second Christopher Nolan Batman movie, the Dark Knight one, it's not a perfect movie by any means. It has a lot of problems. Also, I'm so tired of superhero movies at this point. But like, it just openly rejected what the structure of a movie story was to some degree. I mean, it still had a lot of elements, but it was just like, look, we're just gonna do some more stuff here at the end, like way past when it would end, and fuck it. We're just gonna do all these things. And I really like that about it. Because when I read stories that are just cookie cutter, it's just boring. I'm just not... I don't know. It's not always boring, but if everything is that way, it just means that people aren't trying very hard. What are some other examples? There was this Jennifer Lopez movie called Enough that I really liked because it really was not about... It was almost about like pointing at I'm not trolling. I like that movie. I mean, I haven't seen it since it came out like 20 zillion years ago, so I might not like it anymore. But what I remember about it was kind of funny because they would take you up to this point where in a classic story structure, a certain thing would happen. And that point was like tangibly there. And then they would do something else, like psych, we're going to do this instead of that. And if you're attuned to how stories work, it was kind of calling attention to the structure of a story in the same way that I do that for puzzles in something like The Witness. So maybe this is a scoop, this is an exclusive. Maybe one of the influences by The Witness was Enough with Jennifer Lopez. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. No troll. No troll. Am I interested in From Software games? I never really liked those games that much. I haven't tried Sekiro. I might try it sometime, but eh. Thanks for destroying something that you love. I don't know. Have you seen the movie? Maybe you like the movie. I'm just saying, maybe you like the movie. All right. So we have this problem now so I'm not going to try to run the other tests yet because we want Sokoban to work. I'm in such a better mood now that we got it this far, by the way. So I suspect that this was the problem. Let's try actually trimming this hack down. And see if that helps us. Let's see, first of all, if it doesn't break the no jobs. We don't need to do release, I don't think. Okay, so yes, that still doesn't stall with the circular dependencies. Let's try this. Nope. Nope. Okay, so, well, we need to figure this out. Hopefully it's something solvable. Hopefully we don't have to redesign the entire compiler to solve this problem, which could happen. Like this is definitely, it's definitely scary. How can you rewind? Yeah, you can go to the videos and look back, yeah. Okay, wait. Oh, because we're no jobsing. We're no jobsing. We've got to not no job. Oh, that's going to make it harder to debug, man. Let's see if we can get it with randomize. I feel like randomize has not really paid off in a long time. I felt like it was useful when I implemented it, but these days, I don't know if it's just not working anymore. Like in theory, I should be able to hit a problem like this by randomizing the inputs, and it doesn't seem to work that way for some reason. All right, well, we've got to debug it without no jobs. That makes me sad. Okay. Wait, did I not? I said without no jobs. Without no jobs. Okay. So we're emitting code for dereferencing a struct. The problem is, okay, so ideally, if you were generating code for a procedure and you were like, oh, we need to dereference this struct and it's not ready for that yet, let's just like suspend this bytecode generation job and come back to it later when the struct is ready. Sounds simple. We don't have that capability right now. And I want to solve this problem without building that capability. So the way we do it is by putting those dependencies in, which again is kind of sucky, and in the long term, I want to get rid of it. But right now, that's just how it works, is with these dependencies. So let's look at where we are. In the program, line 17 of light probe. Why am I not surprised? Okay, entity flag. Okay, oh, okay, this is an assignment into here. So the using fired, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to assign entity flags. But entity itself is not built yet, or it's not inferred yet. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, right now we're not working on functionality on the game right now. We're just making sure that we can still build the game and the other test programs as we modify the compiler. And then at some point we'll go back to working on the game, but probably not today. Probably not today. There's things to do on the compiler. Okay. So what I'm not sure about is why we're emitting this code. Like this is for the initializer, I guess? Yes. We're emitting the code for the initializer for this struct. We should only be doing that if the struct itself has been sized. This struct should only be, oh, it's a pointer. Bro, okay. Okay, here's what's going on. Okay. Those of you who are watching last night's stream, I was talking about how if you have a pointer to something, you generally don't need to know its size. Right? Because like if you're going to like dereference the pointer or whatever, but if it's in a declaration, then you just know that the type of this thing is a pointer to this thing, and that's fine. So when this declaration came up, what happened is it's flagged, oh, this identifier, it refers to entity, but it's got a pointer in front of it, so we don't need to put like a size dependency here. And for a normal declaration, we wouldn't need to. The problem is that we've got an assignment here, and it's through a using. And when that happens, then we're in trouble. So I wish, this is such a weird thing to do. I mean, I guess I should say, I mean, again, this should be a valid program, but ugh. Like, too much using is weird to me. I don't know why he wants to do this, but okay. Okay. It's sort of like light probe is extending. Actually, this is an interesting use of using. So, so actually, too, this is not really related to our other if statement. This happened not because of that if statement that I put in to break that circular dependency. It's because just of the general restructurings that we've been doing, either I took out something important or modified something so that it no longer kicks in because it's expecting different types. So how do we approach this? We need to say, if we're using a pointer to a struct, we need to take a dependency on the struct for now. I don't like adding more dependencies back, but like, look, the program needs to work. And that will solve this. I don't know if there's other problems compiling the program, but that will solve this. So when we call add statements, right, that looks for a using, I think, doesn't it? Yeah. So we're adding a statement to a declarative scope, and okay, if we're in data declarations, if we are using a pointer to a type inside another type, a pointer to a struct inside another struct, we will be dereferencing its members. So we need a size dependency. I mean, really, we need a build dependency. I'm going to try a build dependency. I never make build dependencies. May assert cleanup. This is definitely a case where a bytecode build system that is able to suspend would be preferable to adding dependencies. Okay, if block belongs to struct and it's instantiable. So if we're adding something, if we're adding a using to a struct, and if we're using a struct, a pointer to a struct, actually, what if, okay, assert defin, what am I doing? If defin pointer to and defin pointer to struct type, what's it called? Type definition, struct desk. Yeah, struct desk. And that's instantiable. Then it's likely that we declined to place a struct dependency back when we inferred this due to the flag, what's it called? No. Maybe this case should be moved over there for uniform handling. I kind of buy that. Let me just see if this works, and then we'll look at moving it. Or if it doesn't work, maybe it'll work better if we move it. If, depends, block belongs to struct queued, defin pointer to struct desk queued, pf build. It's like pf changs, but it's pf builds. Whoa. Do assert. Oh, because, oh God. Oh God, dude. Because we don't know. We don't know when we add this if it's instantiable. Because we add this at parse time, so we don't have types for things. Where does that happen then? Here. We're going to do it here anyway. $55.61. So we don't just want to take a size dependency in a lambda body. Okay, the problem is from here, we don't know if it's inside of using or not. So we're going to always take a size dependency. That sucks also. Okay, no, you know what we do? This is frickin' stupid. This is gross. Gross way to do, oh, well. The way we are doing this is gross. Okay, so we don't know the types of things, but what we can do from here, we say, look, we're belong to struct. We know if it's instantiable or not. We don't know any of this. But what we do know is if we do know the actual syntax tree just without the types. So expr is asked using expression if expr, I believe expr should always be non-null, but just in case, expr type is, oh, this is gross. Top operator token type is this. Then if op right and op right type is asked ident. What was that flag against? This. Can we do this better at parse time? But then what happens with user submitted syntax trees? I don't know. Let's just even see if this is remotely feasible to do this. I have a feeling we're going to run it and nothing is going to be any different because I failed. Placeholder for build skip was never filled. Okay, well, I really screwed things up. That just means things are hella circular and the program just isn't really managing to compile. Okay. Super stupid. Let's even make sure we're doing the right thing. This is not something you should ever do in a compiler, is the following thing. Only do this if we're on line 15 of some file. This is really ridiculous. No check-in. I just want to know, because it could be that this works for this case, but it's overzealous, in which case we could see where else it's happening and understand why it's overzealous. Okay, that didn't matter. What? Wait, what? Did I accidentally delete something I shouldn't have? Shouldn't have deleted? Damn it, I think so. What did I do? I think I deleted something. So we haven't checked in so long. All right. Let's back this up. We're backing the truck up. Okay. Undoing a lot of things. This is back to before when we typed this. Still undoing. Still, I wish Emacs had a better undo interface. Okay, let's see if that helps. I feel like it's not going to. It doesn't. Oh my God, we were so close. And then we failed. Oh, did I? Okay. I think I might have accidentally deleted that whole thing. I get what I did. Okay, we're safe. We're rescued. We're rescued. Whew. Okay, so we're back here. We've got this. We're going back here to do this. What did I do wrong? Okay, right. So we deleted the whole thing, including the skip, was the problem. So we want to go back here. I think. Okay. So actually, this line number equals 15 hack may not be necessary because that problem was caused by our other thing that we deleted that we didn't need to delete. All right. Okay, so we didn't actually solve our problem. Let's just see, because I might have gotten this wrong. Let's break there on line 15. Okay. Conditions. Asked using L0 is equal to 15. Wait, why did we recompile something? Did I forget to recompile correctly? I think so. I think we might be functioning. That was a lot harder than it needed to be. I don't know. Maybe we're infinite looping. What's going on? Maybe it's just a slow debug compiler. It's starting to feel like a long time. It's starting to feel like consequences. No. 43 seconds, that's a long time, but let's run it. So I don't like that workaround that I put in because it's not really correct, but it could be good enough to stopgap until we have a better thing in place. So let's go to release build. Finally, normal compile times. No. No. Wait, what? Why do we have the same problem again? What just happened? Did we fail to compile it? Wait, what? Okay, why did that take 40 seconds, first of all? Oh, because we probably said release build with the debug compiler. Okay. We didn't really solve it. We just got lucky that time because we're running without no jobs. So you know, it's non-deterministic what's going to happen. All right. So we have to see why this isn't working. Or, well, so we want light probe, right? Line 15. First module. Wait. We never get a using on line 15 of light probe. That seems strange. That would explain why this code doesn't fix the problem. Let's go here. Let's go way out. Let's go out to the parser. Handle bear import, that's not the right one. Really? What? Okay, that one. Parser line 4219, and we're going to break in line 15 there. Okay, so that should tell us where we parse this, and then we'll see if we're just failing to do something useful. What? Are you talking about? Okay, are we even in the same place? I assumed because the error was the same, it was the same place. This might be a different place in the code doing a similar thing. It is. Damn it. This is the problem with trying to run with no jobs. Or maybe we did fix that. No, because... Okay, this is the same thing. It's just a subclass of entity. Well, let's put that in as well. Parser. Conditions. It's either line 15 or it's line 180. See if we catch either of those. Right? Okay, we got one. Wait, this is a totally different file. What? Okay, this is a false positive. We'll just keep doing them till we catch one. Okay, one other thing we could do. You know what? Let's solve this better. Let's solve this better. We would have to, is it compiled to assembly CPU instructions or interpreted bytecode? Both. Both. We do both. So my hack workaround is not that good anyway. What I could do is we start parsing a using. We could say, hey guys, we're parsing a using. Therefore, don't ever set this flag on identifiers. The problem with that is it doesn't solve the problem for user-submitted syntax trees. But that said, user-submitted syntax trees aren't ever going to set that flag in the first place, so they might have other problems. So I'm not going to worry about that yet. I'm going to solve things one at a time. Right. Yes. Sometimes if you make the problem too hard, you'll never solve it, right? You got to take things in steps. So let's do that, because my stupid ass hack over here just, it's not right. This is not a long-term solution anyway. Because like the actual expression could be, it could be an arbitrarily complex thing. It could be like a run directive. It could be a macro expansion when we add macros. Like that thing that I put there just won't survive into the future, right? What will survive, at least for parsing, is if we do the new ask using parser new. Okay. So here's what we do: is we say inside using count plus equals 1, inside using count minus equals 1. All right. So we do that. If we're inside a using, we don't ever set this. Oh, geez. This is still not going to be right, but let's type it in. If inside, this is going to cause a different problem. If inside a using, we don't, if inside a using, what am I trying to say? I woke up again. I was up late and I woke up too soon and my brain needs a nap now because I only got like 5 hours of sleep again. If we're inside a using, we will be referencing the members of this struct, so we'll need a size dependency after all. All right. This is not going to work, but let's do it. It might. There's a slim chance of working, but I think it's going to cause a problem. So int inside using count is 0, not 0, 0, bro. All right. How many lines is the compiler? Let's see. 47,000 if you don't count new lines and comments. Okay. That didn't actually solve the problem. All right. Well, I am stumped because that is not what I expected. I expected that we would have solved the problem and caused a different problem, but we didn't. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a break now. Maybe try to catch up on the rest of my sleep and stuff. We're very close to having the compiler back in working order with this change in, which makes me very happy. It's a big change. But we're going to want to investigate. Let me go back to this thing. I'm going to make a note here like XXX. We added this and it didn't work. So when I come back later and compile, I'll just see that and I'll be like, what? Oh yeah, this is what we were doing, right? So the problem is it's very hard to debug a big program like this not running with no jobs, because every time this bug triggers from a different part in the program, like it's just a different case and we can't pin it down to step through, right? So maybe the goal is to reproduce a small program that has this problem, and then there'll only be like one place where it happens, and that'll make it a lot easier to figure out what the hell is going on. So I think that is my preferred approach. Do I leave my PC powered on? Usually, yeah. All right, thanks everybody for coming by. Let's see if there's someone to raid who is doing good programming. Well, there's Casey. Casey's doing programming. He's parsing something.
So it's going to need that. It's also
Handmade
going to need
texture.
excuse me.
Probably.
That needs full rebuild flag.
Tokenizer. Handmade hero tokenizer. All right, let's do that. Thank you everybody for coming by. And I'll see you later.